Hello, my name is Linda Isho, and with me I have Caitlin Sarvesh, and we are the funding attorneys over at the Rutkowski Law Firm.
So today we're going to discuss what is funding and what does the 5-step funding process look like with the Rutkowski Law Firm. Specifically, we're going to spend some time reviewing the top 10 questions we're usually asked about the financial questionnaire. So let's jump right into it. What is funding? Funding is the process when the grantor or the person who creates the trust transfers his or her assets into the name of the trust. So there's two avenues you can do to accomplish this. You can either retitle an account into the name of your trust, or you would make a beneficiary designation on that account to the trust. And really, the route you take depends on what type of asset it is and that goal, what your ultimate goal is for that account.
Yep. Very good points, Caitlin. I'm going to kind of give a suitcase analogy that we typically give to clients to help explain what is funding. So now imagine preparing to take a trip. One of the first things you have to do is pack a suitcase of the items you're going to need for your trip. The suitcase is like a trust because it's going to hold your stuff. And the stuff within the suitcase are going to be these assets you have acquired during your lifetime. So in the same way you wouldn't want to take an empty suitcase on your trip, you would not want to have an empty or an unfunded trust. It is of no use to you.
Exactly. So now we're going to jump into the 5-step funding process and what that looks like with the Rutkowski Law Firm. So for step 1, you are going to be given a financial questionnaire to complete. But Linda, what is a financial questionnaire?
So it is a document that provides us with your financial information that we would need to properly pack your suitcase with all of your assets. The financial questionnaire is reviewed with the attorney during your review and signing meeting.
All right, and now we're going to discuss completing that financial questionnaire and specifically look at the top 10 questions we receive about filling out the financial questionnaire.
One of the first top questions we get is, why do you need my social security number on the financial questionnaire?
So we need your social security number because that is going to serve as the tax ID for the trust. And also we need it when we're completing the institution specific forms to either retitle an account or make a beneficiary change. That is one of the key information pieces they need on that form in order to make that change. So that's why we need the social security number. And another question that comes up a lot is, Linda, do I also include my rental properties on the questionnaire?
Yes, so you would put in all real estate properties you own, operate as a rental, or have partial interest in. Caitlin, why do I need to give you my homeowner's insurance information? What do you need that for?
Well, when we connect your home to your trust, we need to add your home as another insured part, or we need to add your trust as another insured party on your policy to ensure that any claims that are filed under the policy are properly paid out. And also, Linda, why do I need to provide you with the mailing address for the institution? Can't you just Google it?
So we get that question quite often. So if it is a bank you specifically deal with, we need to know your specific bank branch to send the funding request to, so that your account is connected to your trust in the timeliest manner. Now, most companies have multiple divisions, and we need to know the exact division to send the request to. Otherwise, sending it to a general mailing address that we Googled may delay the process. Caitlin, how important is it to properly label the exact type of account on the questionnaire?
It is very important to label what type of account it is, because that ultimately determines how we're going to connect that account to your trust, if we're going to retitle the account or make a beneficiary change for the account. So paramount that you include that information. But Linda, do you really need my account or policy number?
Yes, we do, Caitlin, because the companies need to know the exact account you would like the change to be made to. Also, without providing these account numbers or policy numbers ahead of time, it adds a significant amount of time to our funding meeting itself, having to find these account numbers or policy numbers and filling them out on the forms. Caitlin, what is the difference between non-qualified assets versus qualified assets?
Thank you for asking that. So really what it comes down to is whether you've paid income tax for the funds in that account. So if you've already paid income tax on it, that's considered a non-qualified account. If you have not paid income tax yet on what is in that account, then that'll be considered a qualified account. And Linda, also, should I provide you with my financial advisor's contact information if I have a financial advisor?
Absolutely. We will work with the financial advisor to make sure that the accounts are properly updated to reflect the trust. And working with the financial advisor speeds up the process, and it cuts through the processing time in dealing with these institutions. Caitlin, can't I just give you all of my financial statements instead of having to complete the financial questionnaires and you fish through it all to get the information you need?
So Linda, often financial statements don't provide all of the specific information we need to send to companies in order to connect your assets to the trust. So while that seems like the most logical solution at first, what we really need is for you to go through the financial questionnaire and put together all of that information that the questionnaire asks for in order for us to send the companies what they need. Thank you. And finally, Linda, how do I get the completed questionnaire over to you when it's done?
Yep, there are multiple options in getting the completed financial questionnaire to us. You can either mail it, email it, fax it, or physically drop it to one of our offices.
And so that takes us over into step 2 of the process. So step 2 of the funding process is at your review and signing meeting. The attorney is going to review each of the assets you wrote on your funding questionnaire and help come up with a plan on what change needs to be made for each of those assets. So if we're either going to go through the retitling route or if we're going to make a beneficiary change for that asset.
That leads us on to step number 3. This is where we, me or Caitlin, will draft all of the funding documents and complete the institution-specific forms for the asset. This is the step in the process where we also work with your financial advisor to make sure all of your assets are properly updated to reflect the trust.
Right, and then step 4, this really depends on what, how you're doing your estate plan with us. If you are doing our virtual estate planning process, what is going to happen at this step is you are going to receive your funding documents before the funding meeting, either via mail or through a courier service, and that these documents will be delivered to you. And then we will review the documents over screen share at the meeting. If you're not going through the virtual process with us, we're just going to go over these documents at your funding meeting in person.
And the final step, which is step number 5, after we receive the signed funding documents from you, we will then submit them to the institutions, and you will either receive a confirmation from the institutions that the change was made or a request to complete additional forms. Either way, reach out to us and we will kind of discuss with you what the next steps are in regards to those forms you receive.
All right, so thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to what funding is really all about. And we look forward to meeting with you in the future. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys.